Today is November 20th, 2023. Exactly 14 years to the day of the premiere of The Blind Side. And a lot has happened in those 14 years. A lot. According to the Tuohy's court documents, Michael Oher was paid $138,000. But there's more than meets the eye. I found it incredibly disappointing. CNN's flash doc that appeared on Max did not explore anything about those payments. That revelation came within the last few minutes of the documentary, and there was no explanation about it at all, because it left viewers with, he lied. But as I stated, there's more than meets the eye. I found it odd that Alcon Entertainment was barely mentioned, because after all, this is a fight that includes the studio, not just the Tuohys. According to Michael Oher, his name, image, and likeness was sold at a garage sale. Or maybe not sold, maybe it was given away. This was a gift not just to any movie studio. The studio, Alcon Entertainment, what CNN's flash doc failed to reveal, this studio is family. Typically, when documentaries, when they are produced, it's at the conclusion of a story, when facts are understood. Rarely is a documentary produced smack dab in the middle of ongoing litigation. But here we are. There was no explanation about the $138,000 payment. None whatsoever. That revelation came in the last few minutes of the documentary, with no explanation about the payments at all. All of the headlines read, Michael Oher lied. Michael Oher was paid $138,000. Period. So this is where we start a new sentence. For starters, there is a difference between Michael Oher Sr. and Michael Oher Jr. In an interview with Barstool Sports, S.J. Tuohy stated that their family foundation received a $400,000 donation from the studio. $400,000. And because Michael Oher did not want anything to do with that money, they as a family decided they would give it to his son. That would be Michael Oher Jr. But according to the Tuohy's court filings, Michael Oher Jr. did not receive a $200,000 payment. Proceeds from The Blind Side. In fact, the Ohers didn't receive a total of $200,000. So the question is, where did S.J. Tuohy get that information? It sounded like it came straight from his parents. So the question is, did they lie to him? Did he tell the lie? Who's lying? Let's take a deeper dive into the payments. Michael Lewis, the author of the book The Blind Side: Evolution of a Game, said that after the taxes and agent fees, he and the Toohey family received about $350,000 each from the Blind Side movie. So here's the thing. I've heard different amounts at different times from the same person. Not just Michael Lewis, though. Sean Toohey as well. So the only thing I can really rely on are the court filings. And according to the court filings, Michael Oher nor Michael Oher Jr. received $350,000. Michael Oher received a total of 4 payments. The first payment was in 2007, the summer, for $22,500. Now, I am confused because at this time, Michael Oher was in college. So the narrative has been the conservatorship and so many other things were done to skirt the NCAA regulations. But this clearly looks like a payment was made to him while he was in college. Now, if at that time students were not allowed to receive any money for their name, image, and likeness, why was this payment made on June 8th of 2007 for $22,500? Now, don't forget The Blind Side did not premiere until November 20th. Today's November 20th of 2009. So that payment was way before the movie even premiered. Payment number 2, $13,500, February of 2009. Payment number 3 is also in 2009 for $31,500. So there is a lapse between 2007 and then the payments resume in 2009, early 2009. Remember, The Blind Side didn't premiere until November 20th of 2009. Today is November 20th, exactly 14 years to the day of that premiere. There is one more check, but guess what? We need to stop right here. April 24th, 2009. This is the day before, guess what? The NFL draft. A check for $31,500 was cut to Michael Oher. This is the second of 2 checks cut well before The Blind Side has premiered on November 20th, 2009. So ask yourself, why would a mother, and I'm using air quotes, why would a mother cut a son a check for $31,000 the day before the NFL draft? In 24 hours, he's about to be drafted. It's not like the check could clear. And in fact, if we're talking about checks that need to clear, there were 2 checks, 2 y'all, that didn't clear yet. One from 2001, $8,000, $526 and a few cents. And then there was another one in 2022 for $117.30 that still haven't cleared the Toohey's account. But let's talk about what did clear. After The Blind Side, 7 years after The Blind Side premiered, Michael Oher Sr. was cut a check for $9,000 in May of 2016. So there was no check in 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And voila, in 16, there is a single check in May of 2016 for $9,000. Now, I understand why Michael Oher said, listen, I didn't receive a dime from The Blind Side, because technically, of the 4 checks that he received, only one of them occurred after The Blind Side, 7+ years later. And I question whether or not he even knew he received that check, especially when you have accountants signing, things for you and handling your finances. So maybe The Blind Side didn't make any money in 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 because Michael Oher didn't receive a dime from The Blind Side. Now, I know SJ Tui said something different. I know he said something totally different. But according to the court filings, Michael Oher received $76,500 with a single $9,000 check received 7 years after The Blind Side premiered. And in 2009, the year that The Blind Side did premiere, he received 2 checks. One less than 2 weeks after the Super Bowl in February, and another one the day before the NFL draft. Those were the only 2 checks that Michael Oher received in 2009, the year The Blind Side premiered. I find that a little odd. And I haven't seen much reporting about it. Just the total amount, no breakdown of the actual amounts received, when, what's cleared, what hasn't. Just a blanket statement. Michael Oher received $138,000, and that's it. Let's move along. Let's not look at the details. Because if you dare look at the details, you'll see that something is a little off. But let's move on to Michael Oher Jr. Because remember, SJ Sean Tui Jr. said that Michael Oher didn't want anything to do with the money. So they as a family decided that they would put that money in a trust for his son. That is something that SJ Tui said on a Barstool Sports interview. And he also talked about a $400,000 donation that was received to their foundation. And half of that, $200,000, was given to Michael Oher Jr. Except when you look at the court filings, Senior and Junior didn't even receive $200,000 total.